Huh? Okay, go ahead. No, well, what I want. Okay. That's another show. No, we go by her. Well, no, I'm going by what they said. Yeah, I want to get started. Yeah. I'm sorry. I got to deviate just a little bit. We want to go ahead and get started. My name is April England Albright. I'm the legal director for Black Voters Matter Fund. Unfortunately, we had to be here today because, 4 people, one of which was an employee of Black Voters Matter, absolutely, 3 of which were partners for Black Voters Matter, were simply passing out water and food, to people who were standing in line for 6 hours. There was even record of someone fainting that day because they had been standing in line, elderly people. And all they were doing was simply giving out water and food so they could sustain themselves during that time period for fault of not their own. Because it was nobody's fault that those lines took 6 hours, but Georgia's election infrastructure. But yet we find ourselves here today with people looking at the possibility of being referred to the Attorney General's office simply because they volunteered that day on the spot. This wasn't even planned. It was, we drive by, we see the lines, we need to help them. But here we are today. And the only reason today we didn't get that referral, and if you heard in there, we almost didn't get that second. And we didn't hear any of them all agreeing, right? But had this been just in 2021, we probably would have gotten a referral, even though they simply were giving out food and water because they changed the law to now make it unlawful to do so. And that's the shame. That's the real shame of why we're here. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. This is the first, unfortunately, either one or two things going to happen. Either we're going to see prosecutions coming forward with people giving out food and water to help people because long lines still exist, or we're going to see people having to sustain long lines without getting the support they need. And that's what they want. So I'm so thankful that the 4 people who were here, who had to endure 2 years of waiting to see whether or not, see what was going to happen as a result of this. We also have Attorney, I want you to say something, who practices law here all the time, goes before this board all the time, and sees other similar cases like this. And we also have members of Black Voters Matter in the community at large who are here standing with us in solidarity, who do this work, protecting people who are out protecting people. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and then, we can all hop in from there.
Thanks. My name is Brian Sells, and I'm an election lawyer in Atlanta, Georgia, and pleased to represent the 4 individuals accused, as you just heard, of handing out water in October of 2020. We think the State Election Board made the right decision here. The recommendation by the investigators was that there was no violation, and that was correct. But the point I want to emphasize is that my clients have been under legal jeopardy now for more than 2 years, and they should never have been in jeopardy because what they did back in October 2020 was not unlawful. It has been made unlawful by SB202, but this conduct occurred prior to SB202 and was not unlawful at the time. They should never have been subject to this complaint. But we're grateful that the State Election Board ultimately made the right decision. So, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Demetrius Young. I'm a city commissioner in Albany, Georgia, and I'm one of the respondents in the complaint from the Secretary of State's office. I'm just relieved. I can't say I'm happy, but I am relieved that this is finally over. This cloud is, from over top of us. Again, what we tried to do in Albany, Georgia, is simply come to the aid of our community. This just wasn't, an organization. This wasn't a few people. This wasn't electioneering. This was not campaigning. This was folks who saw a need and went to help. This was folks who wanted to help even before that day, but were rebuffed by the local elections officials. And when everything fell apart, we just tried to stand in the gap. And it's just unfortunate. The half has not been told about what we went through that whole elections period. We were the one that were threatened with violence, guns pulled on us. But we were the ones who were threatened with arrest from the local officials there. We were the ones who had to endure charges and things of that nature. And I'm just so happy, though, that we have resilient people, people who understand this fight, and people who are going to stand behind us. And that's what we need to keep doing for each other. That's what we need to keep doing to expand our voting laws. I'm lived in another area of the country where voting is as free as sitting down at your kitchen table with your ballot around your family. It should not be in 2023 that we still have all of these obstacles to simply cast our ballots here in Georgia. And whatever people want to feel about, I guess the record turnout or the results of the election, understand that we're going to continue to work to expand these rights and push people to vote. We need to push people to vote. And again, thanks to all, thanks to our attorney, thanks to Black Voters Matter, and keep the fight.
That's right.
Good afternoon. My name is Kiana Jackson. I was one of the respondents to the complaint that was filed today. I can't really say much else than what everybody else said, but I want to touch on some things that the board chair said. He said 3 words: grace, wisdom, and justice. My questions are, how graceful is it to hold this over citizens' heads for over almost 3 years? How wise is it to pursue such futile efforts? And what is justice if SB202 is still in office?
That's right. That's right.
Come on.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Seth Levy from the Southern Poverty Law Center, and I'll be a little blunt. This was a lot of crap.
That's right.
The problem was 6-hour line to wait to vote, 90-degree weather, and 2 years were just wasted over the fact that water was given out perfectly lawfully. That's crap. And I don't think we should lose sight of the fact that instead of address this problem of long lines to vote in Black communities throughout Georgia, Governor Kemp decided to criminalize outreach to voters instead of solve the problem. The problem that should be solved is that everybody should be able to easily vote without hardship or interference, but that's not happening. And we're proud to stand with Black Voters Matter in their fight to, get us to a place where voting can happen without hardship or interference. So I want to thank, everything you all had to put up with. It was unconscionable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next we'll have Ms. Wayne Westbrook from Macon, County, NAACP.
Good evening. It's an honor to be here today. Today, what I saw was horrific. I am appalled that in 2020, we are still dealing with the same things that we dealt with in the 60s. A lot of people are insecure when it comes to the NAACP, when it comes to Black Voters Matter, and that's something that people have to deal with within themselves, but they should not have this type of things hanging over people's head because of their insecurity. I want to say to the people that were involved in this, you all I just thank you for standing up. We have to continue to fight. We have to continue to fight for the injustices. Today, what I saw was a lot of time wasted. They went too long with this, but I am grateful that they exonerated these people that were involved in this. We just have to continue to fight because the fight is not over, and this is just a Band-Aid with Senate Bill 202. It's just a Band-Aid. It's more coming, but we'll stand together with Black Voters Matter, and we're going to fight this thing. I just want to thank you all for continuing, and the attorneys, thank you all for standing by and representing these Republicans. Thank you.
Next we have Protect the Vote.
Hello, everybody. My name is Hannah Joy Geber-Selassie, Executive Director of Protect the Vote and also Community Chair with Georgia NAACP. Certainly standing in solidarity today with our Black Voters Matter fam, our We Vote, We Win fam, every organization and coalition partner out here today. What we saw in there exactly was horrific, as was stated when we opened this today. Our hearts are heavy right now. Listening to those testimonies, that bull crap that we heard today, that is unacceptable. This is not just about attacking people for doing something about humanity. It's also about putting people's lives at risk. We saw a woman today in there that tried to defend herself, who could have easily hurt somebody, who could have easily taken someone out, who could have easily done something very atrocious and regrettable with a gun. We're not talking about that enough. That is a Karen. That is a Karen call. We see that too often. We're losing brothers and sisters in this community to Karen calls. And for them to discount the gravity that could have had that day is heartbreaking. Thank God we didn't lose anybody that day. Thank God our brothers and sisters are standing here today in solidarity, because it could have been a different story. So we stand here in solidarity, not just to preserve the right to serve our brothers and sisters water in lines, but we also stand in solidarity to protect Black life and to say no to gun violence and no to racism. Thank you.
Right. Yes. We came here today to this hearing to stand up and to fight back. When voting rights are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. When voting rights are under attack, what do? Stand up, fight back. So we came here today to do that. Now, today, at the end of the hearing, the chairman said, don't go out there talking about this is a win, bragging about that you got to win. But at the end of the day, today wasn't a win. Because at the end of the day, these folks still had to go through 2 years of having their names dragged through the mud. 2 years of facing legal charges. 2 years of, as we even heard today, baseless claims of I was chased and I was attacked and there was a mob coming after me. And they had to deal with this for 2 years. So no, today's not a win. Today's not a win because at the end of the day, we still have to deal with 6-hour lines in our communities. That's why we even have to give out the food and water. Today's not a win because SB202 still exists, and it should not exist. So this is what I'm going to say. Today's not a win, but this is what I know. We will win. We will get to where we're trying to get to, and we do it by doing what we have here today. See our friends, NAACP, Protect the Vote, Georgia Stand Up. That's right. And so we got all of these folks, and our history shows us that when we work together, we win. When we work together, we win. And so I'm still believing, I have the audacity to believe, we have the audacity to believe that today's not where we're going to get to, because as Brother Malcolm said, you can't stick a knife in my back and pull it halfway out and call that progress. You got to pull the knife all the way out, and then you got to repair the wound. And so they did not repair the wound today. But we are going to get there, and we're going to get there by doing what we do best, working together. Thank y'all.
Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I guess.
I just want to speak on what we saw today. First of all, we looked at a board that doesn't represent the people who came before the board. Absolutely. And so my question is to this organization and to others, what does it take for us to be represented on such a board? And we need to research that and see what it takes, because the only way to bring change is to be a part of what makes the change. Thank you.
Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Wanda Mosley. And, I echo the sentiments that you've heard from the lawyers, from the respondents, from the activists, from the oldest and the baddest. And I just want to say, at the end of the day, I really didn't want to be here. Right. I did not want to be here because this is foolishness. This is ridiculousness. But knowing I had to come here today, when I woke up this morning, I had my mind stayed on freedom. Because I had to reflect, what is freedom in 2023? In a time and a place where apparently Black people cannot gather without being mistaken as a mob? Where in a time and place where we have to stand in line 6, 8, 9 hours to exercise our right as Americans to vote? During a time where there's this thing that we have to live within called climate change that creates 90-degree temperatures in October and November? Clearly that ain't freedom. If Demetrius, a Black man, 6 feet tall, some pounds, and Tyree Nichols, a Black man, slightly built, of 147 pounds, cannot even navigate through communities, whether you are being chased or chasing, but your Black skin precedes any of the things that you did. So freedom is not being Black in Georgia or Memphis and gathering to exercise whatever right you choose to exercise in that day. I can tell you that freedom is also not having freedom from high utility bills in the city of Albany, in Dougherty County, because I would be remiss if I didn't speak on that. So at this time, as we close out, I want us all to reflect what freedom is and know that everything that we are doing is to protect our most sacred right as citizens of this country, which is the right to vote. And any and all attacks that come against that right will be met with resistance, because we won't be intimidated. We're not scared. We won't go away. And at the end of the day, we won't back down. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank y'all so much for coming. Thank you. That's right.